Hey everyone, this is Eric at Galloway Precision. We're going to do the Bellator trigger install on the Ruger-5.7 today. The trigger we'll be installing today is the pre and post travel version for the safety model. We offer a safety blade version for the non-safety lever model. The install is the same, other than this one requires adjustments to get the best benefit out of it, where the safety blade version has a fixed pre-travel limit, and all that comes set, it's not adjustable. So we're going to start with, of course, taking the slide off of this. I'm going to go ahead and knock this pin out. It's been out a lot on this gun for testing, so it probably won't be too bad to get it out. Okay, 1/16 punch. Should knock that right out. Alright. Now I get the blade loose. I'll pull it apart in a second. You can take this and you turn it clockwise and just rotate and pull, and this will pop right out. Okay. You're left with a front pin, like most of the Rugers, LCP Max. They've gone to this setup where you've got one pin and then a retainer on the back end here, like a shelf or a groove that the chassis locks into and pivots on. This one more or less slides. Well, there we go. So when you go to take this out, you need to kind of push it this way. So you can pull up on it and then take your thumb and push just a little bit forward, and this will pop out. You're going to see this pin right here is going to try to come out. Once this is out of the way, it's fine. You can let it fall. It's not going to hurt anything. This is not anything to stress about. Don't worry about it. This hammer spring back here, the pin only comes out the right side, so it will fall out if you hold it like that. So maybe just kind of keep it a little more vertical. Push forward, and then you can rock the whole thing out. All right. Set that off to the side. This trigger transfer bar, you can just sort of shake it more or less, and it'll walk right up and out. If you need to get it out of the way, you don't really have to. You do need to remove the slide lock lever. I'll kind of show you that, make sure you get an idea how that sits. We'll show you when we go to install it, but that spring leg needs to be on top of the lever. You've got the top pin like most of these Rugers have. Now that since we've got the pin out, we can just pop that loose and knock the spring out. It's not going to be reused. Push that, it should pop out. A note is that this pin, this locking pin, will not come out if you don't have that spring tension off of the trigger return spring, by the way. Push your pivot out, return spring will fall out. Take your new trigger, 050 Allen is what you adjust this with. Put you some blue Loctite on these threads. Oh, there goes the hammer spring. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Set the old trigger out of the way. Drop your pivot in. Okay. Trigger return spring, you see how the loop, you're going to want that to line up with that pinhole. And the arm will look just kind of like that, all right? Take you something and sort of wiggle that, get the locking pinhole lined up. I want to take a set of tweezers. Okay, that's seated. You can put your trigger transfer bar on there and you can wind this. Now we're not going to wind it yet because we've got to put this on. Oh, that fell out on me. I should have wound it. We'll talk about this real quick though. If you look at the bottom of your hammer, you're going to see a groove. You see these legs that almost look like a fingertip, sort of bent. That fits in here. This spring pin goes in just like that, okay? Don't stress over that. That's all there's to that. Alright. Let's see if we can just drop it in. Oh yeah. So we wind this now. Boom. Now our pin's tensioned. It's not going to come out again. Make sure it's seated. Keep pressure on that. Try not to let that, see how quick that walks out. Take our slide lock lever, see how that's situated. There's a hole right there for the spring leg. Drop that guy in, pop it up into place, right? This guy jumped out again. Okay. So we're going to put this steel pin in here in just a second. Insert your trigger through the opening, push the chassis as far forward as you can. You may need to put a little pressure on this spring. Get it down in there, and you're going to feel the resistance. You're going to push, that's what's cocking this hammer, okay? Go ahead and push it from this side that direction, and you'll feel it lock in, and then you can just squeeze it, okay? Raise it up just a little bit to get this pin in, and push it back in place. It's that easy, okay? When you go to put your takedown lever back in place, take your thumbnail and you can just pry that up or lever it up. I said lever it up like that. Okay, this moves. There's a couple ways to do this, I'm sure. I'm not sure what's right or wrong. You can put pressure on this and just twist it in place, okay? Then it'll go right in. Pull it back out just a little bit to get it situated so you can reassemble the gun. Go ahead and get the hammer out of the way. Assemble it. Slide back. Get that to roll. Snap. Okay. Now you would adjust this upper screw, your pre-travel. You'll adjust it until the gun doesn't reset. Once it doesn't reset, you're going to turn this top screw back in a quarter of a turn, and then it will reset. As for the lower trigger, once this is staged, you're going to turn this screw out towards the back until the gun doesn't break. Then you're going to back it off, and it'll break. Let the Loctite set, and you'll be all ready to go. Again, that's going to be the only difference between it and the other trigger. I hope you found this useful for the install. Kind of an insight into the inside, some of the little things to watch out for. The big thing is that pin falling out the side and remembering the steel pin in the front. And again, that locking pin on the trigger that comes in from the top, regardless of which version, it is not locked in until you tighten that trigger return spring. All right, it's not bad. There's just a couple weird things happening compared to some of the other Ruger stuff on the market. But it's been a really good gun. The trigger has really woke it up. It's been a success. Customers are switching to it from the other one on the market that came out before ours. I guess they like it better. Happy to help them out with it, obviously. If you have any questions, email us at tech@gallowayprecision.com. And as always, be safe, be accurate, and God bless.